Hey everyone, Mark and Joey here on a Thursday on another beautiful day here in Ontario, Canada. We got to throw out our apologies here. We do spend the summer kind of in a cottage, cabin area, trailer park resort that we stay at. Many of you know that, which means we get our internet over satellite. It just takes bad weather, which is what we had. Torrential rains the last couple of days, and we've had no chance to get internet. So we apologize we haven't loaded anything, but we'll try and make up for it today, recapping things that are going on in all of the sports. And number one for us is the NBA. We do want to just remind you of our sponsor, KAWHI.com. Anyway, we've talked about it a lot, but want to remind you they are sponsoring the show. You can go to the website, great sunglasses there. But let's get to the NBA, and lots of movement, as we know from the NBA, every single day. It's amazing how a league that is off season can have more things happening than MLB, which is in season, but they are that way. It's a great promotion on their part. This whole free agency thing right after the draft, fun. We had a couple guys turn down their options, which included KAWHI in Toronto, and we've got one signing that is important to us, and we've got a whole bunch of news about KAWHI and what the heck he's up to.
Yeah, so first off, Marc Gasol signed his option with the Toronto Raptors, which promoted odds makers to make Toronto huge favorite sign KAWHI.
Yeah.
Assuming that
minus 240 actually I saw this morning.
Yeah, assuming that if Gasol signed his option, that he's been told KAWHI's staying, because that was certainly one of the things that was in question for all these veterans, where they're not going to sign options because if KAWHI left, they'd want to get out of there. But the fact that he signed is interesting. It does one or two things. Maybe there's just the faith, even without KAWHI, they can go far, which I believe they can do in the Eastern Conference, or that KAWHI's coming back, which has made Toronto big favorites to re-sign him. I think that the LA Clippers are obviously second. That's the only other option. Although he's toying with us and taking meetings with the Knicks, Philly, all these other teams for whatever reason. And, now there's even talk about putting him and Jimmy Butler together, him and Durant together. We believe most of that's smoke and mirrors, but it can either happen, I guess, but I don't think it does. I think Toronto is signing him, and looks good for us going forward.
Well, I think so. It seems weird to spend the time. I don't know. Maybe he has nothing else to do in the offseason. He should be enjoying the summer. I know his agent will do most of the talking and all that kind of stuff, but why bother? Where is he going to go play? He's already just won a championship. He's a god, unless he's shy about being a god. And he showed that in the other city he was in, that, really he's not the attention-grabbing kind of guy. But he even came out of that in his personality at the end of the season. He talked to the media. He talked about things in the games. He was, his head was up. And, he was talking to them directly, where in the beginning his head was down. He kind of mumbled through interviews. It made no sense. None of this makes any sense other than to keep the world thinking about NBA. It wouldn't even surprise me. Sometimes you get this conspiracy thing. It wouldn't surprise me all the NBA called and said, look, you take meetings with everybody. This is keeping our ratings going through the roof while we're in the off season. This is very cool. Wouldn't shock me at all. It's pretty innocent in its whole thing. He's not saying anything, so it's not like, he's swaying both ways. He can only get the most money from Toronto. Like, there's no reason to be trying to push Toronto's buttons. They're already saying, we're going to pay you more money than anybody else can pay you. So it's weird.
It's overdone, and I think you're right. It's just to stay busy this summer or something like that. But I think Toronto's going to sign him. Obviously, odds makers, I always believe, know a lot, because they had the Anthony Davis thing locked down pretty early. They had Lakers favorites to win the World Championship next year. So I feel like they're on to something. I think they know it's going to happen. And that leads us into Durant, who declined his option.
Yeah.
Where is he going to go? Big mystery. Regardless, he's not playing next year. So even if he comes to an Eastern Conference team, as Raptors fans, we do not have to worry. There's rumors of him going to the Clippers. I don't think he'd go there and battle LeBron James. Right? I think he's going to the Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets. Right now, the Nets are the favorites to sign him. They're assuming Kyrie is going to Brooklyn. They believe they want to team up.
Is that what he's talking about now, too?
They want to believe they want to team up in Brooklyn over the Knicks. But Kevin Durant is definitely going to one of those two teams.
But Joey, the amazing thing is, Durant is no different than Leonard, right? Like, why is the team even bothering? This guy's out for a season minimum, maybe never to play again. The way this injury happened to him was like that. It was a simple turn of the ankle. This guy's injured in two bad places. Why are you going to spend this millions and millions of dollars on a player that may never play? It just shows you how irresponsible and why the Knicks have been crap for so long. Management decisions are ridiculous. You do not sign Durant. You're an idiot. Any team to have a guy who's out for a whole year and is that fragile on the injury side, to give him that much money to just sit on the sidelines, you're absolutely crazy as a management team to do that.
Yeah, but you bring other players to your team. Like, look at Kyrie already willing to sign. Like, he's just you're bringing someone else with the hope that when Durant
Kyrie's stupid too. Then
when Durant comes back, that he's going to be even 75%. He could be a great basketball player. So you hope that he comes back and he comes back good. But you bring other stars to the table. You sell tickets. You sell jerseys. You
to what? A game that he's not even playing for a year?
Yeah, I mean, guaranteed it.
People are so dumb.
Guaranteed. They're going to buy jerseys. They're going to hope that he comes back and does a great job. It's going to be a big sign for the Knicks or Nets, who really right now, the Knicks just need some goddamn excitement in their city. You got to remember, they also got R.J. Barrett. So if you brought Durant, if you can convince Kyrie, you already got R.J. Barrett through
Kyrie
draft.
Maybe.
You could have three big stars there in the matter of a year.
Yeah.
It might be worth the risk. And even if Durant ends up not coming back from his injury, you got R.J. Barrett and Kyrie. You can probably bring someone else now too. So
yeah, but you just spend a ton of money. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, in basketball, that clearly doesn't matter. And the Knicks are one of the most valuable franchises, if not the most valuable franchise.
Which is amazing. You can be that way.
So he doesn't care. So in New York, he's looking for a response to being bad, which is bringing a star, give people hope in New York. And you can see it with Stephen A. Smith and other New York fans. They just want him to come. They don't know what it's going to bring a year
well,
from now.
It doesn't cost them anything.
It doesn't cost them. And it doesn't cost the owner. He makes so much goddamn money. Just bring him to the town. Get the excitement back. Bring other stars with him, which was a guarantee because everyone believes he'll come back.
Yeah.
So you're bringing something to the table. You already got R.J. Barrett. I think the Knicks want this more than the Nets need this. The Nets have a question mark, which is D'Angelo Russell. Is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? Obviously, it depends on their Kyrie situation. Right. So they're kind of in a better position, and they got tons of cap space. The Knicks need someone just to give them their fans hope, and I think that's what the angle is there. If I'm Durant, though, I'm staying Golden State. Win 3 more championships. I mean, I've heard Klay Thompson, if offered a max deal, will sign in a second in Golden State, and the only reason he'll look elsewhere is if they don't give him the max deal.
Right.
So Klay's pretty safe. They've apparently told him that they will give him the max deal. So you could have you yourself, Steph, and Klay win a bunch of more championships, enjoy life in Golden State, and whatever. But he wants to go to New York. He wants to give himself another challenge, I guess, and we'll see a year from now what that might bring. But those are the free agency rumors right now. Jimmy Butler is also in a rumor of a sign and trade. They want Philly to sign Jimmy Butler, and then they want Philly to trade Butler to Houston. So Houston wants this to happen.
But why does Houston just sign him?
I think he's a restricted free agent, so they can't just go out and sign him. So they probably want Philly to give him maybe the guarantee money up top or something.
Get a better contract.
Something about their better contract to make him happy. I think he can get a max deal too. I think his max deal adds millions if it's with Philly over Houston. So Houston say, okay, sign him, that's fine, and then trade him to us, and we'll give you blah blah blah. So
that's where the commissioners should step in. I mean, the rules around these contracts are done for reasons, and this farce of a trade just to make this happen almost is like slapping the league in the face, saying you can put up whatever rules you want. We're going to find ways to break them. And I think that's where the commissioner needs to step in, stop any deal like that. It just is a joke for the league that they put in rules and then teams can just work around
I disagree because now Philly's going to get compensated.
I agree with that, but except for the fact the rules are there for them not to get compensated, to be an orchestrated trade that he doesn't sign in Houston, which is where he wants to go, because they need to circumvent some rule. That's the only thing they're doing this for. Of course, Philly's willing to step up because they need extra help. So they're willing to step up, there's no doubt. But it's on the Houston side that this should not be allowed because they should have to go out and sign him and put up the compensation that's a part of it and not circumvent the league. If I was a commissioner, I'd be all over this, not allow this to happen, and to be in a position where they have to do it properly, which is sign them. And I mean, sure, that'll be in the boardrooms afterwards.
Okay, but if Kawhi said, I'm going to leave, you can sign me and trade me, wouldn't you be grateful for the fact that at least you're going to get something for him? What this does is essentially allows you to either keep the stars because they're going to stay because they get the extra money, or at least he's kind enough to go like, hey, sign and trade. So that's what Butler's doing. In my mind, it's a win-win for Philly. Either you convince these guys to stay because you go, hey, we're the only team that can offer you this money.
Right.
And that's the whole point of this. The whole point of this is to keep your stars even if you're in a nothing market. But at worst case, I actually disagree. I think it's a win-win. Hey, at least this team's going to get compensated. How many teams just get gutted every year?
I don't disagree with your point of view on the value from the player side of allowing this to happen. I'm talking about from the league side where they've got rules against this, and their rules are in there for a reason, and these guys are just circumventing that rule. That's what's happening.
If I'm the commissioner, I'm kind of seeing as they are circumventing my rule, but it's kind of a win-win because Philly is getting something where if he just allowed them to sign him for the same money Philly's going to sign him, they wouldn't even have a chance to get anything. He's just gone. Like, no question.
But
I just think that
that's a real issue. They're essentially breaking a rule. That's what they're doing.
You're missing the fact that most teams would get gutted right now. At least they're getting
that's
stuff.
the league's problem. But the league has rules for this stuff, and you need to abide by the rules. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens if this trade actually comes together. I think it's ridiculous the commissioner would allow it. He's basically saying, okay, as long as someone makes out, okay, you guys can break our rules anytime you want. Because that's the reason you put rules in. What do you mean, why not? That's why they're called rules.
He does it so that the team losing their star
so what's happening?
Something.
No, that's the team's doing that. The league doesn't care because they have a rule against it. That's it. They have a rule. They need to live up to the rule. No, this is blatantly breaking the league's rule by circumventing the reason it's there. I think it's going to go down this path. I think the commissioner is going to get involved with not allow this trade to happen. He can stop any trade he wants. And so he needs to stop this. Otherwise, you can throw the rule book out. Just throw it out because if teams can just find ways to get around it, what's the point in having the rule to start with? Houston should just be able to go and sign him for whatever he wants because essentially that's what they're getting. Anyway. By cheating.
No, because they have to give up. Philly wants 3 players and 2 draft picks.
I know, but this is to break a rule.
Right.
This is like saying, I'm going to benefit because I'm robbing a bank for the charity. No, it's still robbing a bank.
But you'd rather them be able to just lose Butler.
Yes. They follow the rules. Period. Follow the rules. And if the rule makes you lose somebody, that's just a fact of life. That's why the rule's there. If you don't like the rule, change it. Don't find a way to work around it to literally break the rule, but have some excuse for it.
What do you want the rule to be?
That's me. I don't know. I'm not that close to it. What I want you to do is follow the rule. That's all I want you to do. I didn't make the rule. I don't know if it's good or bad for basketball, but it's a rule. It's a rule in their league, and they're going to allow teams to actually break it by some little moves they're going to make that happen. It's a farce from the commissioner's office. It's a farce if he allows it to happen. And if this is what teams are going to do, then they need to change the rule. But while it's a rule, you don't get to break rules and just say, but I have a good reason.
What rule are they breaking?
You just said they're getting around a rule, of Houston signing this guy directly.
No, there's no rule against them signing him directly. They can sign him directly right now if they want to.
I know, but they don't want to because
they're going to help Philly.
Right. That's not what the rule's in there for.
And they're going to help Jimmy Butler, so he's happy. There's no rule saying you can't sign and trade players. You can sign and trade players all you want. The teams have talked. They said, go ahead, do it, and then we'll trade. There's no rule saying...
Why is Houston helping out Philly?
Because Butler doesn't want to come for less money. That's why.
Why? What do you mean less money?
You can't get the same money from the team you're on from a different team. So Butler can get $40 extra million if Philly signs with. So then they accept the contract.
Right.
If Butler won't probably even sign with Houston. He'll probably just sign with Philly and stay there. But Houston's offer. So really, what you got to look at it is, it's not that Butler's even a free agent. The way I'm looking at it, he's already signed by Philly and they're making a trade. Like, whatever. Now, they're doing it while he's a free agent because Philly obviously can give him more money, and that's what Butler's complaining about. So that's why he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah, but look at it this way.
But he wants to leave. He doesn't want him. They don't want him.
He's actually going to Houston and using Philly to get more money to go there because he couldn't sign for that much.
It's not Philly's job, though, because Philly's getting rid of the entire contract and, in fact, getting players back. In my mind, it's a win-win because before, Butler's gone. Like, he's gone.
I know. That's just a fact of life if he's gone. But the real reason, you're just like right there because you want to help the team and play. The real reason is Houston can't pay him as much money. So he wants to go to Houston. That's why this is even being talked about. He wants to go to Houston, or Philly wants to get him off their roster. So what's really happening is Houston can't sign him because of the rule, which is fine, and they're just finding a way to make it happen.
No, they can sign him. That's
not the same money you said.
They're not breaking a rule because they can sign him, and Philly doesn't have to sign him at all. So there's no real rule.
But you just said, okay, so maybe I don't know the rules well. You just said Houston could not pay him as much money as Philly. Correct. So they can't sign him because he wants the money. So now what's happening is Philly is going to make this work for him.
Okay, but Philly could say, I don't want to sign you either.
Good, and that's what he should be doing. That's what they should be doing.
And then he has to sign with someone else. Right. Except they're getting told that they'll get players for him.
Right.
So it's beneficial to both sides. I don't understand what your upset is. And there's no rule saying you can't sign a guy and trade him. And in fact, if the commissioner's laughing because he goes, hey, this is a win for me, the team that's going to lose one of their best players, because if they could offer the same amount of money as Philly could, he'd be gone, is actually going to get players now. Congratulations to me. I helped out Philly. I helped out Houston. I did my job as a commissioner. There's nothing wrong with it as far as I'm concerned. It's the way the league is. They've done it so you can keep your stars. Anthony Davis, same thing. He would have been gone.
But they're not keeping their star, and they're not trying to keep their star. They're trying to give him money.
They're getting something for their star. How often do you get upset because stars leave? They just get gutted. It's like Kawhi this year. If Kawhi could have told the Raptors, I'm leaving, we could have traded him for a gazillion things. Except we didn't know. We won the title, thank God. But if you didn't, you would have been upset that he didn't let him know.
Yeah, that would have been legit not to make that happen. It would have been because he had been told by him he wasn't signing a contract. So you go and trade that player, which is totally within your rights. He's still under contract. This one is pure and simple. The league puts restrictions on players moving, and Philly is trying to get players and help Butler out by signing him and then trading him, which is where he wants to go anyway.
They're only helping themselves out.
Well, they are helping themselves, but he's getting money out of it.
Like if Kawhi said, Raptors, I'll give you the chance to sign and trade me, would you not be grateful?
Well, here's what I'll say then to the league rule. Maybe they haven't got it written right. That if a guy does this, he has to stay with that team for a year if he signs his contract.
But that's a different rule.
Because they're doing this to get him to Houston.
Exactly.
Totally. That's my point. You can say whatever you want. The theme of this is to get him to Houston. Philly's going to win out of this theme. The league is being ripped off. And Houston's getting a player that they want, but they had to go around the rules to get him because they can't pay him as much money.
But the league doesn't have to pay.
I'm not talking about that. They have rules.
How's the league losing, though?
Because they have rules that you need to follow.
What rules they breaking?
Houston, this is meant to be.
Right.
You can say whatever. Maybe they're skirting the rules. This is like everything. You play golf. You don't skirt the rules in golf.
No.
You call the rule on yourself.
Yeah.
This is purely being done by Philly, Houston, and Butler to get him the money and go to Houston. Purely.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors, all that. Phone calls. Hey, by the way, here's what we'll do. We'll sign him.
They're not hiding it.
We'll sign him, and then you get him and all this kind of stuff. This, as a golfer, it's shocking to me that you would even think about making rules work in your favor, because in golf, you call the rule on yourself, whether you like the rule, don't like the rule, and then in the season, you fight the rule, which they did this year, and they've had changes in golf. But as a rule-based guy, it's shocking to me that you're okay that behind closed doors, they're going to circumvent a rule to get him to Houston. Anyway, we got to get off it. There's been lots of nice ranting here. We'll see what's going to happen. I believe they're breaking league rules. You don't. And nothing else. Here we are talking about the NBA in every show on TV, which is what the NBA wants. And they're winning on a publicity standpoint. We're going to leave it for today. There'll be more stuff happening by tomorrow on basketball. So we'll have more to talk about. Anyway, enjoy it. Watching TV. Rumors every day. Free agents every day. Opting out of contracts. The one thing the NBA has over every other sport, man, is knowing how to make publicity work on their behalf. So we'll be back tomorrow to talk more NBA.